No greater tribute can be paid to a firefighter than to be honored by those who face the same dangers and put their lives on the line. Tonight, Chapter 3 takes a look at the heroes of the fire service. New Haven has had its share of firefighters die in the line of duty. Since 1862, a total of 53 firefighters have given their lives in order to protect the citizens of our city from the ravages of smoke and flames. On May 14, 1878, Hosman Harry Brooks of Steamer Company No. 4 was killed when a wall collapsed at a fire on Day Street. He was the first to die. Over the years, many such tragedies have been averted by the brave and heroic deeds of our firefighters. I'm Captain Ed Flynn. Our guests tonight are Lieutenant Elmer Henderson, Jr. and Lieutenant Kevin Miller. Both of these men have been cited for their superhuman efforts that resulted in the saving of New Haven firefighters who were trapped in burning buildings. Lieutenant Miller, Lieutenant Henderson, welcome to the show.
Oh.
Lieutenant Henderson, do you remember the night of September 7th, 1975?
I do. I'll never forget it.
A four-alarm fire had raged out of control on Congress Avenue. 4 firefighters were working on the roof, and suddenly, without warning, the roof gave way and dropped them into the inferno below. Tell us, what did you see happen?
Well, I just arrived at the scene with Engine Company 6, and I was horrified to see the roof cave in with the men on it.
The record shows that there was a huge amount of fire in the area where the men fell, and that you vaulted over a 4-foot wall with complete disregard for your own personal safety. Eyewitness accounts stated it was a very courageous act. What did you do after you vaulted that wall?
Well, I found the fallen men, and one by one, I managed to lift them on my shoulder and push them over the wall to the other men on the other side. I just thank God we all got out.
You were presented the Award of Valor by the Connecticut State Firemen's Association, which is their highest award. At award ceremonies by the New Haven Fire Department, you were awarded the Medal of Valor. At both presentations, you were given a standing ovation by your firefighters that lasted more than 5 minutes. What were your thoughts at that moment?
I felt proud to be a firefighter. It really does feel good to be honored by one's peers.
The New Haven Register recognized this heroic feat and paid special tribute to firefighter Henderson in a monthly salute. A portion of that editorial reads as follows. Henderson not only was brave enough to dare the rescue, but skilled enough and strong enough to lead the way out of the flames. Witnesses say he exerted extraordinary physical effort to get his fellow firemen out of the fiery trap. Henderson's devotion to duty was such that it has won the admiration and respect as well as the gratitude of his peers. A fireman who saves other firemen has surely done himself proud. Lieutenant Miller, on January 24, 1976, you responded to a fire at a synagogue on Norton Street that turned into a third alarm. There were some hectic moments when firefighters working in the basement became trapped when the floor caved in. Tell us what happened at that point.
See, at that time I was acting lieutenant on Truck 4. I remember we were racing down Whaley Avenue, turned into Norton, and we knew we had a good job going. It was going to be a good one. Smoke was already in the street. Laddered the building. 2 men went to the roof to open it. Another firefighter and myself went to the second floor to search and ventilate. Meanwhile, Engine Company 9, members of that company, led by Lieutenant Robert King, firefighter Robert Armstead, and firefighters Bruce Green, were moving an 1.5-inch line down into the basement where the fire originated. They got about 3/4 of the way into the basement when the floor collapsed behind them. This cut off their water supply, sent up a wall of flame that blocked their escape route. And sometime after that, they ran out of oxygen in their Scott Air Packs.
You have been credited with literally pulling the iron bars out of the basement window with your bare hands. Where did all that strength come from?
It's hard to say. When I got down to the ground and they were screaming for help, they were calling, I knew there was no way that they were going to get out except through the basement. And the bars were covering the windows. I sat down and grabbed onto the bars and just started pulling. the adrenaline, the emotion in my body. I know today was but for the grace of God that I was able to do it.
At that point, the 3 firefighters who were wearing breathing equipment, which ran out of air, were pulled out of the basement in serious condition. Tell us what you did at that point and what the other firefighters did.
Well, it was a all-hands operation. We had ambulance drivers. Third alarm had been called in. More ambulances were called for. Pump drivers. Everybody responded, and we reached in and pulled them out one at a time. Bruce Green was the last one to come out. He didn't look like he was going to make it. I gave him emergency mouth-to-mouth, and we got a resuscitator on him, and they took him all to the hospital, where Bruce was given his last rites. They didn't think he was going to pull through. It was hectic.
The iron bars that you, with your superhuman strength, pulled are in my hands here. I know that the firefighters are very grateful that you had this strength when it was needed, because I believe that if it wasn't for your heroic deed, 3 firefighters would have probably died in that basement. Lieutenant Henderson, what's it like to pull into a fire scene and be told people are trapped in the building? What are your thoughts? What are your concerns when you know that someone is trapped in that building, the flames are licking up the side, the smoke seems to be just involved in coming out of every window?
Well, the first order of business in any fire is to get the people out. A firefighter will work himself to the limit when he knows lives are involved. That's basically about it.
It's a frightening, very frightening situation. You have people in the building that are going to die if we don't do something, and we do something fast. And we'll break down doors, we'll chop holes in roofs, we'll go through windows, ladder, breach walls, do anything to...
So the very first order of business at a fire...
First things first, save lives.
Save lives, and that is what the firefighters are credited with doing the best. Lieutenant Miller, how do you search a building for victims at a fire? Let's just say you get into a smoky fire and you can't see a hand in front of your face. Someone reports that there may be people up on the 3rd floor, and I know that a lot of times the people who are believed to be in a building aren't there, but we have that obligation to search and check out every room just to make sure that everyone is out of the building. How do you go about that? You can't see. What do you do?
99% of the time we're on our hands and knees crawling because we can't see, and the super hot gases and flames, we have to crawl. We go from room to room. We check under beds. Children want to hide under beds. They want to get away from the fire. They hide in closets. We check closets. We follow the wall around. We check every room. It's a frightening experience because you can't tell where you are yourself. You don't know. You can become disoriented. Flashlights, they don't help that much. The smoke is too thick. It's frightening.
One of the dangers of a firefighter going to the upper floors during a fire with the heavy concentration of smoke is with the fire below him, the danger is that he may himself become trapped up there.
Definitely, right. I had one fire situation where we were told there was a child in the building, and I got from one bedroom, I went to another bedroom, and I was searching, and I found what I believed to be a child. At the time I started to pull it out, but it was a dog. And the poor dog was whimpering, but I had to leave the dog. The room was getting hotter and hotter. I had to keep searching for a child. They said there was a child in there, and I had to leave it there to search on.
Lieutenant Henderson, one of the hardest things at a fire is bringing out the victims. What is the reaction of the firefighters when the lifeless body of a child is removed from the fire?
Well, it gets pretty quiet on the fire ground then. Tears usually hidden by the ashes and soot, from the combustion of the fire. We feel sorry, like it could have been a child of our own, and that's basically what's going through the head of most of the firefighters.
Lieutenant Miller, have you any thoughts on the emotion that rises up within the firefighter's body once a child is found with probably a parent outside sobbing and screaming? Have you witnessed?
I have, and it's a heartbreaker. Another fire I was at, and we were told that children were in there and flames were roaring out of the back room where supposedly their bedroom was, and it was. And by the time we worked our way down through the heat and the flame and extinguished the fire, I put two little sisters in body bags. I picked them up and just placed them in body bags. And I have two daughters. My oldest, Kellyanne, was 6 at the time, and my youngest, Carrie Elizabeth, was 4 at the time, and about the same age, the same sizes. And all I could think of was how many times I come home from work and pick my daughters up and hug them. And it's a terrible, terrible way to die. It's horrible.
We're going to view a short segment on firefighting conditions courtesy of the International Association of Firefighters.
Time a mixed blessing. It has been man's friend, providing him with heat, light, and energy. But when fire is uncontrolled, it is one of his greatest enemies, causing a tragic loss of property, natural resources, and life itself. Every year, fire destroys billions of dollars worth of property. Every year, thousands of lives are lost in the United States and Canada by fires. And firefighters sacrifice their lives in the line of duty. Every year, fire exacts a toll of countless injuries and permanent damage to people in their homes, in shops, and factories and offices. These fire losses would be many times greater were it not for the bravery, dedication, and skill of our professional firefighters. Fire knows no time schedule and respects no person. In the torrid heat of summer or the freezing blast of winter, the professional firefighter is on the job. A professional with no bravado, no heroics. The fire is always hot and the water is always cold, and the tension always great. Fire departments today have rigid...
We'll be back right after this short message.
He's Charlie Johnson.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Tommy.
He knows everybody in this neighborhood. That's why he volunteered to be part of the Carrier Alert program. And that's why he's concerned when sometimes things just don't look right.
Ms. Lombardo. Ms. Lombardo. Are you in there? It's Charlie. Oh.
Hello, Charlie.
Mrs. Lombardo was all right, but a lot of people might not have been. The aged, the handicapped.
Thanks for stopping by. It's nice to know someone cares.
That's why the Carrier Alert program is so important. It ensures that help is there when help is needed. There are thousands of letter carriers, United Way volunteers, making this service possible. For more information on the Carrier Alert program, contact your postmaster.
Welcome back to Chapter 3, Heroes of the Fire Service. Our guests are Lieutenant Kevin Miller and Lieutenant Elmer Henderson, Jr. Lieutenant Miller, why would anybody want to make a career of the fire service when the job is the most hazardous occupation in the country?
For myself, it's a satisfying experience. I enjoy helping people. I love the fire department. It's helping people. That's what it amounts to. I hate to give you example after example. A while back, we had a fire, and I went to the second floor, and there wasn't any people there, but there was a dog, and I picked the dog up. Had a leash on it. It was tied to the door, and I carried the dog out, and there was a little girl, and she had her back to me, and she was over by the side of a parked car, and she was crying, and her mother was holding her, and she was crying and crying. And I brought her little dog out. She thought her dog was dead. And just the idea that she was so happy when she saw the dog, and she just, I was choked. It choked me up. That's how, I enjoy that.
basically, the feelings of the firefighter play an important role in that person becoming a firefighter. The compassion, we're talking about compassion
Definitely.
human life. As Lieutenant Henderson stated earlier about the children, we think about our own children when we go into a fire. It could be them. So it is the self-satisfying, self-rewarding part of the job that really makes it what it is.
That's what it is.
One of the major risks facing a firefighter is being burned. How do you cope with the superheated gases and flames that threaten you as you enter a burning building? Lieutenant Henderson?
Well, first of all, our basic turnout gear protects us from burns, coat, turnout coat, boots, and our helmet protects our head. And they're not fireproof or anything, but they're more than adequate.
Still get burns. We still get burns. Even with our Scots on, we get burns. Or on our ears, most common with firefighters, get first-degree burns on the ear, on the back of the neck that's not protected. We fall through floors, we fall through roofs, fall down flights of stairs and lose your protective gear. You get burned. Ceilings come down on you. You're going to get burned. It's inevitable.
So despite using the best equipment, protective equipment available, the firefighter still is very vulnerable to the hazards of the occupation.
It's a dangerous job.
In order to reach the seat of a fire, you have to fight your way past the smoke, the heat, and the flames. How is this accomplished? Lieutenant Miller?
Scott Air Packs. Scott Air Packs. They're the best thing going for a firefighter today. The best friend a firefighter could have. Enable us to push through these hot gases, to get to the seat of the fire. They're probably the best we have going for us. Right?
How about the teamwork concept? We talk about the fire companies all responding together, and maybe to the average person it looks like utter chaos on the fire ground. But as we, with our training, know that there's a reason for everything we do. We talk about the hook and ladder that may go to the rooftop. Lieutenant Henderson, what do they accomplish while you're pulling in that hose line below the fire? What is the hook and ladder accomplishing on the upper floors?
Well, usually ventilating, so knocking out windows, and maybe even putting a hole in the roof to let these hot gases and toxic fumes escape. And then when us on the pipe to advance these hose lines more freely. Because even though we may have Scots on, we still can't see. The heat still trapped down there. And unless it's released, we can only go but so far.
So if the ladder company is above you, ventilating the building, and you're advancing your hose line with the nozzle open, the sprays of the water would, in effect, be pushing out the superheated gases through the rooftop and the upper floor windows, and it would enable you to very quickly find the seat of the fire and effect rescue of trapped victims. A common occurrence on the fire ground is shortness of breath, dizziness, nausea, and rapid heartbeat. In the past, smoke inhalation wasn't considered a lasting problem. Today, with the synthetic products on the market, construction, furnishings of buildings, they emit toxic fumes that can kill you within 48 hours after a fire. How do you rate the breathing equipment that your department currently uses?
It's the best to offer. I believe that the city provides us with, like again, the Scots that we have, we can't move without them, especially with toxic fumes. We need them.
And might I add that we're all trained thoroughly in the use of these Scott Air Packs. We're able to put them on in less than a minute, and we usually can get about half an hour of working time out of them.
What happens when you run out of air inside? Or is there a warning? You have a warning to get out?
Yes, the Scott itself has a bell or something that rings when we're within about 3 to 5 minutes of air left. And what we do then is notify our partner, and both of us, or if he's busy, you leave and get it out, we change
So wearing the Scott Air Pack into a building is also a teamwork effort. You go in with no less than 2 firefighters as a team. Many lives are lost through the work of an arsonist. How do you feel about someone who deliberately starts a fire?
I basically don't have too much use for a person who would do something like that. It's a very hideous crime, which is, and a lot of lives and property are lost due to this. I just have trouble believing people actually do it. Being on the job, I know it's done, but I have trouble with it.
Lieutenant Miller, how important is a firefighter's testimony in an arson trial? I do know that you have been summoned by the court to get on the witness stand as a firefighter. What are some of the things a firefighter has to know and recognize before he gets on that stand? What do you tell a prosecutor?
Well, essentially what you're doing is you're relating what you witnessed, what you did, the conditions. I was there. I know what happened. I'm going to tell the jury what happened, what took place, the intense heat, the smoke, the position of the victim, any information that I can remember.
We're going to view a short action of firefighters on the fire ground.
But the drills, practices, study, and training do pay off. And the countless lives saved every year by firefighters prove the value of this ongoing training to maintain more than 100% efficiency. Firefighters are used to high ladders, but a frightened victim of a fire is not, and she cannot descend a ladder unaided. For the public's protection, usually 2 firefighters are needed to safely, carefully, and gently rescue an occupant from a burning building. This is the first order of business at any fire. Get the people out. Then get on with the business of fighting the fire. Rescue squad members are all experienced fire-trained professionals and are an effective backup for the engine and truck companies, as well as safeguarding the lives of the public. An injured firefighter or one overcome by smoke inhalation requires immediate attention, as this situation reduces the firefighting capability and effectiveness of the crew when a man is down. In a situation like this, when a firefighter has been overcome by smoke and deadly carbon monoxide has filled his lungs, his lifespan is shortened. Clean, fresh air can be received, but already permanent damage has taken place. And throughout his career, he will experience this choking exposure to deadly gas on more occasions than he will care to remember. And it's not always smoke or fire injuries either. These hoses have as much as 250 pounds per square inch of pressure contained within their walls. If a hose breaks and whips back, striking a firefighter, it can severely cripple or even kill. Broken bones are a constant hazard of the profession. Sometimes it's a broken neck.
That short clip was courtesy of the International Association of Firefighters. What about the worry and anxiety that is always on the mind of your family when you go off to work?
I was once told by a firefighter when I first came on the job, and he said, when you leave the house, make sure that you're not angry with anyone, and make sure that you kiss everybody in the family. And I think that's good advice, because when we go out that door, there's no guarantee that we're going to come back. There's no guarantee whatsoever. That's what I feel.
When I am called to duty, God, wherever flames may rage, give me strength to save some life, whatever be its age. Help me embrace a little child before it is too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout, and quickly and effectively to put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and to give the best in me, to guard my every neighbor and protect his property. And if, according to your will, I have to lose my life, please bless with your protecting hand my children and my wife. Amen.
Be sure to be with us next week for Chapter 4, EMS, a team that's all heart. Our guests will be emergency medical technicians John Wynn and William Seward.